some vast times. And Satan don't care who he devours. He walking back and forth, walking to and fro, seeing whom he can devour. But somebody said, I'm covered by the blood. I'm wrapped up in Jesus' love. Shall we bow our heads? Lord, it's me again. Just want to thank you one more time. Thank you, Lord, because if it had not been for you on our side, where would we be? Thank you, Lord, because you are God all by yourself. Thank you for looking beyond our fault, seeing our need, having dotted every I, we having crossed every T, sometimes even being contrite and contrary. But thank you for looking beyond our fault and seeing our need. We're standing here one more time because of your grace and your mercy. We thank you, Lord, because we lift our eyes unto the hills from what's coming all our help and our strength.
Yes.
We want to continue to thank you for our pastor, Lord. Thank you for allowing his wife to come back safe and sound.
Yes.
Continue to bless their family. I don't know who on the altar this morning, but you know what they stand in need of.
Yes.
Ask right now in the mighty name of Jesus that you touch whatever is going on in their life. Then, Lord, we want to thank you for the musician this morning. Thank you that we can sing and praise your name. And then, Lord, we thank you for all that you have done, what you will do, and what you're going to do. We just want to praise you right now because you're so worthy to be praised, Lord. And if there's anything in us that's keeping us from praising your name, Lord, remove the bitterness and the hate and the malice. And Lord, remove it right now so we can worship you in truth and in spirit. And then, Lord, we can't do nothing without you. We ask that you touch our pastor this morning.
Touch, Lord, touch.
That he preach an uncompromising gospel. That somebody might stand and ask, what must I do to be saved? We ask that you bless the Vacation Bible School this week, Lord. Bless the teachers, the cooks, Lord, all those that are participating. Lord, we ask that you allow your Holy Spirit to work right now.
Work right now, Lord.
And then, Lord, look down on my island. Look down on thy people.
Please, Lord.
You've been better to us than we have our own self. You've been so good to us. And we just want to praise your name. We want to say thank you. If I've omitted anything, Lord, charge it to my mind and not my heart. We just want to thank you. This is my prayer in the mighty name of Jesus. For his sake. Amen.
Because of who you are, I give you praise. us out. You made a way. Even when we didn't see, you opened up doors that were closed in our face. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for this, another Lord's Day. Thank you that you allowed us to lie down last night and to wake up this morning in our right mind. We thank you. There were many that lied down last night that are no longer here with us. But you've given us yet another day. And we thank you. Pray now that you forgive me of my sins. Cleanse me from unrighteousness. Let you stand in and speak through me. The words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Recognize Brother Gibson and then you, not only family, again today, and in the spirit of the Vacation Bible School theme, we want to read Matthew 28:19 and 20.
All right.
Matthew 28:19 and 20, the Great Commission.
Yes, sir.
Matthew 28:19 and 20. It says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world."
Amen.
Talk for a few moments about overcoming obstacles to effective witnessing. Overcoming obstacles to effective witnessing. The Great Commission set forth by Jesus to his disciples serves as what is known as the marching orders of the church.
All right.
It is the desire of Jesus for us to go into all the world so that those who are lost have an opportunity to come to Christ for salvation. Whatever else we do in and for the church is secondary. It is not an optional command. It is not a suggestion. It is what he told us to do.
All right.
He made the command with the expectation that we would follow through. One of the books that we use for our net classes here is titled, "Disciples Are Made, Not Born." The author of the book is Walter Hendrickson, and he makes a profound statement. He says, "Make disciples is a mandate of the Master. We may ignore it, but we cannot evade it." Our risen Christ left this legacy and provided both the model and the method for us to follow.
Yes, sir.
He demonstrated that you've not done anything until you change the lives of men and women.
My Lord.
You can change your address. You can change jobs.
Yeah.
You can change cars. You can even change your name.
All right.
But the lives of men and women must be changed, or we've done absolutely nothing. We'll soon be gearing up again with our efforts to train our membership after the summer break
Yes, sir.
in the methods and techniques of how to share your faith. And this training is done through our classes, the net classes. It's a vehicle that we use to equip the students to defend the faith and how to lead one to Christ. There's also training through various Bible classes and Sunday church school and even VBS. And so we cannot approach soul winning or witnessing as a church with a take it or leave it attitude. We cannot sit by and watch people die and go to hell
Right, sir.
while we shout and talk about how the Lord will deliver you in the time of trouble. And there's something to be said about the insensitivity of a person who's not bothered, who can watch a person who's not saved spend a godless eternity in a burning lake of fire.
Come on,
People are in trouble.
yeah.
And they're searching for all kinds of solutions to the problems of life. And the fact of the matter is, we have the answer to their true dilemma.
Yes.
But we need to prepare ourselves and come and be equipped so that we know what to say and what to do. We need to come and be equipped so that people won't have to die a godless death. Too many of us have treated the command as if it were not necessary. And since we've determined it's not necessary, we continue to live our lives in a state of denial. And so there are several problem areas in witnessing. They range from those who lack the assurance of their salvation to those who fear they'll be rejected, those who fear they don't have adequate training, and those who really just don't care. You'd be surprised at the people who could care less about the lost. There's an old song way back in the day that said, "I got mine." But there's nothing about me helping you get yours. I went to church for a blessing, and I got mine. No concern for the hurting. No concern for the unchurched. And these mindsets fall into what I call deadly obstacles. Now, obstacles are things that block one's way or prevents one from progressing. Things that are made more difficult when obstacles are present. It makes it tough to navigate life. And sometimes obstacles can be the source of frustration even to those of us who are of the household of faith.
Amen.
What are the obstacles that Christians face in our efforts to implement this command? What is it that seems to deflect our efforts to effectively reach those who are lost, both outside and even inside the church?
Sure enough.
Unfortunately, the fact that there are too many to name. And as a result, I will not attempt to give a complete list. But there are a few we want to talk about today and examine with the view of doing everything we can to do our part to overcome these obstacles. So the first one is simply indifference of sinners. There may be someone in this room right now that's indifferent to all that's gone on up to this point. The reading of the word, the praying to God, the songs of praise, and you're just indifferent. An attitude of indifference to the gospel is an obstacle or hindrance to one's potential salvation. Now, not all sinners are indifferent in the same way. Some are indifferent to the existence of God. Some are indifferent to the reality that Jesus is the Son of God. And some are indifferent to the demands that Christianity places upon one's life. While some are indifferent to where they'll spend eternity. They joke about having a blunt and a shot of vodka and Hennessy in hell. But there'll be no blunts or vodka in hell. The only fire going on won't be lighting up a blunt. Amen. You won't even think about no blunt in hell. Matter of fact, in some cases, vodka and blunt are what's sending folk to hell. Because they will remain indifferent to the gospel. Some are indifferent to organized, institutionalized religion. And there are many ways that sinners, even some believers, are indifferent to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now understand that indifference is different than an infidel. An infidel is one who says boldly that there is no God. The Bible says that such a person is a fool. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. But the person who is indifferent does not care enough to even oppose God or Christianity. They're just indifferent. They're numb to the reality of the eternal existence of God. And they're numb to the presence of sin in their lives. Satan has anesthetized their heart. And they can't even feel or even be sensitive to the word when it's preached. So we got to be careful how we deal with the person who's indifferent that's a non-believer. And the reason is because indifference has a way of breeding indifference.
Well,
It can breed indifference in a sinner. It can also breed indifference in a saint.
yeah.
It's easy to be indifferent for one who is indifferent toward Christ. It's very difficult to ignore an aggressive enemy because he makes himself known through his aggression. And it's easy to ignore the person who is neither for you or against you. Because they stand where they are, it's easy to be indifferent toward them. So you don't care, and you can do that. The word says to pray for your enemies. Pray for those who spitefully use you. Pray for the one who is indifferent. Who prays for the one who refuses to take a stand one way or another? Indifference is a hindrance or obstacle for soul winning. But then there's something else we've got to be careful about, and that is indifference on the part of the sinner has a way of bringing out the worst in us. It has a way of pulling the negative out of us. Have you ever taught and taught and taught? And you tried every kind of method you can to bring a person to Christ who's just determined to go to hell. If you aren't careful, you'll be tempted to get angry at indifference. Because that frustrates us when people reject Christ. We think they're rejecting us. But I'd rather you to be against me than be indifferent towards me. That way I know at least where you stand. It's frustrating to be neither hot or cold. And you do know the Lord spews out of his mouth indifference. And so there's a temptation that after we've been tried over and over and over, trying to reason with somebody, to slip into the flesh. But not only is the obstacle of indifference, but secondly, there's an obstacle of unbelief. It is said about Jesus that when he was in his home country that he did no mighty works because of their unbelief. Fourth chapter of Hebrews, the writer talks about how the word was preached to them, but they did not profit them because it was not mixed with faith or belief in them that heard it. The sin of unbelief is at the root of all unregenerate hearts. And that there are some in which unbelief takes a very strange and pronounced form. They talk religion, but they don't believe the truth of God. They know all the right answers to the question, but they only have an intellectual grasp to the truth. They don't believe that the Bible is the inspired word of God. And many of them stumble as to who wrote the Bible and where it came from. And a lot of Christians, when they run into people who don't believe, try to win them by arguing with them. But no unbeliever has ever been won to Christ through an argument. You cannot fight Satan's battles. I mean, you cannot fight God's battle with Satan's weapon. He won't allow himself to be glorified through Satan's weapons. You can't use wrong weapons to win the war. The argument that convinces men of the reality of Jesus Christ is gathered when men see the holiness of God expressed in the lives of those who profess to be followers of Christ. In other words, the best argument for Jesus is a life that is consistent with the Word of God. Don't allow yourself to be caught in an argument with an unbeliever. The fool's mind is barricaded against spiritual reasoning. In order for that person to enjoy spiritual things, he or she must believe and be born again. You can't reason on a spiritual level with an unsaved person. You're wasting your time. You see, when I say born again, if you've been saved, you know what I'm talking about. But you don't know what I mean because you intellectually understand all the ramifications of the term born again. You understand it because you've had that experience. You've experienced a change in your own life. And therefore, even strange words like born again make sense to you because you've had an experience. If you haven't had the experience, then born again is church talk. Born again is just church jargon. And so unbelief is one of the obstacles that we're going to have to face. But now there's another one, and that obstacle is delay. This one may be a little more subtle and even more dangerous than the other two. May be more mischievous than the other two. It seems harmless. So many people in our day, even in Paul's day in Acts, when Paul was talking to Felix, he says, go your way for this time. When I have a more convenient season, I'll call for it. The illusion of delay is that you believe that there'll be a better time. The illusion of delay says that there'll be another time. And delay is one of Satan's masterpieces. It's a masterpiece of deception and suggests you can do it tomorrow. What you really need to do today. It's a masterpiece of deception. And the reason why it's a masterpiece is because when you really sit down and look at life, Satan always says, do it tomorrow. You know you need to be saved, but you can do it tomorrow. You know you need to be a part of church, but you can do it tomorrow. You need to be active in the membership, but you can do it tomorrow. You know you need to be more prayerful and studious, but you can start on that tomorrow. But the reality is tomorrow never comes. There is no tomorrow. The fact of the matter is tomorrow never comes. It's always today. If tomorrow does come, tomorrow is today. You've never seen anybody living in tomorrow. It's always today. Tomorrow never comes. And if it comes, it's today. The Bible says, the day you hear my voice, harden not your hearts. Behold, today, not tomorrow, but today is the day of salvation. Jesus told the thief, today you'll be with me. He didn't say tomorrow. He said today. And so today, you ought to accept him if you haven't received him. Today is the acceptable time, not tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. So delay is a masterpiece of Satan, because he's got you thinking that you have time. He's trying to convince you that you have plenty of time to quote-unquote get it together. He won't ever tell you don't do it. He'll just keep you thinking that you can put it off until tomorrow. He'll have you thinking you've got to do better and be better and try harder. So there's somebody here today. You're saying in your heart, I've been putting it off too long. I know things aren't right between me and the Lord, but I'll do it next Sunday. I know he's not pleased with the situation I'm in, but I'll do it tomorrow. I need a little more time. I got to go talk to somebody about the situation. I've got some things I've got to deal with that are some logical realities that I've got to put in place, and I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe you're thinking you've got more time because you're young. But whatever age you are, there's somebody that died at that age. Because death is a one-size-fits-all experience. And it comes for both the young and the old. Death is no respecter of persons, and delay will hold you up long enough for death to come and snuff you out. So don't put off for today for tomorrow what you need to do today. Then there's another obstacle, and that is carnal security. Some people are just settled enough in knowing that they're saved. Some people think their education has made them saved, and so they're secure in their education. I've got a master's in this, I've got a bachelor's in it, I've got a PhD in that. That's not going to save you. There are those who say to themselves that their schooling and training and their exchanges with the great minds in the intellectual arena are all they need. But a man at his best is at his best not when he thinks, but when he prays. The Bible says that there's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And then God says that my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Even as the heavens are higher than above the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Some people think they're safe because there are few folk, I'm not saying all, but a few folk that 45 has deceived into thinking that their lives are better because he's in office.
Come on,
they look at their 401k and have some sense of security, not realizing that most of that 401k took place under the previous president. Our stock market was 6,000 up to 20 before he left. You in better shape with the previous one than the one now. I'm just saying. Well, we got all these people all worked up. He got to put him in office because of all the jobs he lied and said he created that he didn't create. And so people have security in him. And you already know he's a liar. And the Bible says that Satan is a liar and the father of lies, which means that Satan is his father. That ain't on the paper. I know what y'all know. See, that's not on the paper. I just added that. That's just free. Don't cost that. I just thought I'd drop that in. Because he has so many people making them think that they have security because of him. We're less secure. Iran, Russia, China, ready to blow us out of the water. But he got people thinking, I alone can fix it. So did you not know that God can feed you without a job? He can pay your bills without a job. David said, I was young, and now I'm old. And I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed bake bread. Now I may have to borrow some bread, but Dennis, I ain't got to beg for it. Folks' hearts. Matter of fact, there's so many people concerned when Donald was out of town. Pastor, are you eating all right? Are you eating? They had all kind of people, especially Pastor and Sister Boo, just bless their heart, was blessing us with smothered pork chops, smothered steaks. I'm like, yeah. And send $1 somewhere else. Pastor Boo was even in on it. He said, yeah, man, I'm eating pretty good too. But he'll touch somebody's heart. He'll open doors, and I don't know how it happened. That's his business. But there's another obstacle, and that's false security. You see, when you're secure, when you aren't secure, until you become insecure, and then there's a negative and positive to insecurity. When I say that you have to be insecure in yourself, I'm talking about not being dependent on your own human resources, but rather declaring dependency on God. And as a little note to previous, all it takes is 1 or 2 turns in the stock market, and all of us can be in some sense insecure. Just 1 or 2 little things happen. Somebody threatened to do this or blow this up, and next thing you know, you look on your statement and you owe them money. Y'all missed that. Bill understand. You help me out with say, man. Bill understand. So you're not secure as long as you walking on the banks of your human resources. You're only secure when you get out into the deep waters of faith. God is at his best not on the banks. God's at his best in deep water. He don't waste his time performing miracles on banks. He performs miracles in deep water. And so people are so caught up in their human networking systems and faulty foundations for life. And when the storms of life comes, they collapse. So the question to you is, what are you building your security on? But then there's another obstacle. We're running through this many, but we're just going to do just a few. And this one's called despair. The person who depends on carnal security has no fear of coming into the presence of God because they think that their earthly resources and security will give them all they need. So they have no fear, but then watch the pendulum swing to the other side. When they're on one side, they depend on that false security thing all is well, and then the winds of life blow. And everything else turns a new direction. And that same person who once depended on earthly security is now suffering from despair. And they have no hope now. They are despairing. There's someone here right now. You've been hearing the gospel preached. You've been hearing about how Jesus can bring you out, and yet you're living in despair. Because somehow and somewhere along the way you've decided that the power of the gospel cannot be placed upon your life. It's easy to be misled because there's so many religious options for us to choose from. But salvation is through Jesus Christ alone. And he declares that I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. And salvation is a sovereign act of God. And God determined what needed to be done, and he chose to do it. But not only is it a sovereign act of God, at the same time it happens through the free will of man. So man must freely choose what God has done. And so by an act of your will, you must choose what God has done. But then there's another obstacle, and I just want to warn you ahead of time. Buckle up the seat. This one is the love of sin. Because we have a lot of church folk who have a love affair with sin. And so the love of sin will be an obstacle in the way of the one who needs, first of all, to be saved. And what happens is that we don't realize our habits and various involvements in many cases include the love of sin. We don't realize that our involvement in fornication is the love of sin. Y'all ain't got quiet? I just started. Sister Bragg, I just started. Just a snapshot of a few. Our involvement with adultery. Even members picking up prostitutes who marry is the love of sin. Our involvement in homosexuality is the love of sin. Our involvement in backbiting and sowing discord is the love of sin.